Okay, so Go Go Loser Ranger Season 2, Episode 8. I love this series. I love tuning into it week to week. It's one of my favorite anime series to watch week to week. And I know these videos don't get a lot of views and they don't get a lot of comments compared to my other stuff on my channel. But hopefully someone passing by can explain to me what the hell is going on with this show right now, because I am so confused, because it's become so unpredictable that it's a good thing, but the pacing is moving at a breakneck speed. It's kind of hard to keep up with everything going on with story arc. I mean, this story arc has been beat by beat by beat each episode, and it's kind of hard to keep up with everything going on. I don't know what the pacing was like within this manga, or they've rearranged a few things to make it flow better, but the pacing in this week's episode, and I think last week's episode as well, has been sort of like information overload with everything going on around it. So last week's episode, you had D and Hisui being invited to join the Invader Rights Association, or the Monster Rights Association, run by Usakobo's father, or Angel's father, and we meet Yakushui. I'm probably butchering their name as well. But he's a guy who wants to fight for invaders and stuff like that, fight for monsters, and D is totally won over by the guy and loves his speech, which kind of loves D because he's like, oh, like, I'm totally on board with this guy, I get what he's saying, he speaks to me, but then when Yakushui says like, oh, fighters are weak and pathetic, D totally like loses his side, but he's still willing to join his side in the end because, you know, he's got some pride in the end. So he's willing to join his side. But I do like how Angel's father is a total fanboy for Toku. Like, he meets Fighter, or he meets D, and it's the first time he's seen a fighter. So he's like totally enamored and he's like bowing and stuff like that. So that was a lot of fun. But not only that, we've got Hisui fighting against a bunch of the other cult members who have been given Divine Artifacts 2.0, which are these giant eyes that come out of people, which is really creepy, really weird. But one of the things we see in this episode is this white kaiju that shows up and starts creating black holes that can teleport people. No idea who this brand new kaiju is, who this brand new monster is, but it seems more sort of put together than the other kaijus that we see at the end of this week's episode, where they're just giant blobs of monsters and people in the end that are sort of forced into being kaijus. These kaijus look like they're sort of more retained with what their human appearance looks like. So we have no idea what's going on with that. But like I said, Yashqui, praising D, wins him over on the side of the monsters again to join their side again. So you have this one part of the episode where it's this live broadcast where the people are part of the Invaders Rights Association debating with the Dragon Keepers. Now, Red Keeper, because, you know, he was killed in last week's episode, he's got this mask over his face, so Blue Keeper is speaking for him. I don't think I brought it up in my last week's review, but we did see who's the brand new Blue Keeper in last week's episode. I think we need to see more of him to get a bit of feel of the guy, but we know who the new Blue Keeper is as well. That was revealed as well. So during the big debate, like, you know, the monsters invaders want the Rangers to sort of disband because, you know, the Rangers attacking the monsters is what's causing all this problem, and if the Rangers just disband, then the monsters can kind of, you know, they won't have a reason to be aggressive. They can kind of just live their own life peacefully, and if they're not being attacked for being monsters, then there's no reason to get into these fights between all the Rangers. I'm probably twisting the words and stuff like that, but if you watch the episode, you know what I'm talking about. But the Dragon Keepers end up winning the debate because, you know, they reveal all their true identities and all their true faces. But there's one part at the end where Angel's father, Takushi, walks up to Red Keeper, which we find out that it's the exact same Red Keeper, which is kind of weird. He's alive and well after getting killed in last week's episode. But Takushi ends up insulting Red Keeper by saying, look, I was watching the Dragon Keeper's Toku show 20 years ago, and you're nothing like the Red Keeper that I watched 20 years ago. You're a fake imitation. You're nothing but a copy. You'll never live up to that guy's legacy. And this pisses off Red Keeper so much that he ends up ripping off the guy's arm and just ends up stepping on his head because he loses his cool. And because you have the boss monster who's the horse, Halipon, I probably butchered their name as well, but he's pretending to be one of the red battalions and ends up live streaming it to everyone, so everyone sees Red Keeper's true personality, which gets revealed. And It's kind of brushed over really quickly. I feel like you kind of have this montage of what happens that's described where all the sponsors and all the fans end up pulling out of the Dragon Keepers TV show, so the show ends up getting pulled off the air. So they lose all their fans and they lose all their sponsors and stuff like that. So they lose all their support from everyone. Now, while this is all going on, you have Harley Quinn, who's actually gathering a bunch of citizens into this giant coliseum, and he enacts his big plan to turn everyone into kaiju. So everyone gets sprayed by this green goo and they start turning into those kaijus we saw at the zoo before. And so everyone starts turning into kaijus, these low-rank monsters, and that's his big plan in the end. So he's turning everyone into kaijus. So after that, you then have the Dragon Keepers show up at the end of the episode and they morph and they prepare the fight. So it looks like this is how they're going to win everyone's favor back by actually dealing with a real situation that happened, because, you know, a lot of the stuff they do, they sweep under the rug and they pretend that never happened and they have their own little cleanup force for it. So this looks like a real situation they'll be dealing with, and they'll actually be viewed as heroes by stopping like an actual incident that actually happened. So it won't be something that's swept under the rug and people forget about it. So there's that going on as well. But this episode, like I said, the pacing for this week's episode of Go-Go Loser Ranger was all over the place. I mean, I enjoyed it. I got a kick out of it. I'm still liking this show every week. I am definitely going to read the manga after season 2 starts ending, or pick up wherever that volume left off on and give that a go, depending on what volume it leaves up on. But yeah, Go-Go Loser Ranger, a lot of fun, got a kick out of it, and I can't wait to see where it's going to go next. So with that said, I'll catch you guys later. Peace out, take care, bye.